Cheval being quite obedient and quite active. Svenja Kurziol graded EV85, and so is Cheval. Change of rein. And now through walk, and she continues. Not quite straight. Into the half circles. And there we go. Full circle, 15 meters. Svenja is one of 7 riders that are competing in the category C today. That was not quite square. Into the free walk, stretching forward and downward. That is the aim, to see that the horse is loose and comes over the back and is not just held tight by the reins up in front. Into the canter.
Thank you, Svenja Kotzul and Bellissima Cheval. Our second competitor, Zoe Schmidt on Kleinhammer Karis Sternchen.
Zoe Schmidt and Kleinhammer Karis Sternchen, the second competitor. Kleinhammer Karis Sternchen, a very, very seasoned schoolmaster. And Zoe Schmidt, still child rider, which means it should be a perfect match. The old teaching the young. Zoe has saluted the judges and will now be entering as soon as the bell has gone. Just by the by, the riders are not allowed to have a caller for the FEI events. They're also not allowed to use a whip in the arena, but they may wear spurs. Zoe entering in working trot, coming down the center line. She's been asked to halt at X and salute the judges. So that is a fair halt. Continues at a trot and will then track to the left. Sternchen loves eventing, but Sternchen is not sure she likes the dressage too much. She's not coming over the back, is not really on the bit. Circle 12 meters. So Zoe will now have to try and get out as much as possible through precision on her part. Changing the rein over a medium walk. Oops. Was a little abrupt into the walk. Circle to the right. Sternchen not really giving. Zoe trying her best to present the horse well. There was a halt of 4 seconds and immobility, and then the continuation in the medium walk. KB, they will change rein and lengthen the reins and allow the horse to stretch on a long rein. And apart from the figures that are being ridden, the riders also get a collective mark at the end. And the horse The horse is judged on its paces, on freedom and regularity, on its impulsion, the desire to move forward, and the elasticity of the steps, the suppleness of the back, the submission, and then the rider is being judged on position and seat and correctness and accurate riding. Stanchion is quite willing to canter. Not very supple, but maybe fair enough. Stanchion is an elderly lady and has been doing a lot of work in her day. But of course she won't have quite as much oomph and swing as some of the younger horses may have. And Zoe is quite happy to join Category C because she's been wanting to do eventing. However, children are not allowed to event at an early age. So the age of 12 allows them to go eventing, and that is what they really look forward to then. Eventing, quite often called the royal discipline of equestrian sport, for the simple reason that it encompasses 3 phases, which means the horse should be good at dressage, it should be good at show jumping, and it should also enjoy going cross country and over obstacles with its rider. Same goes for the rider, and eventing means a lot of work needs to be put into the horses and the riders. A lot of hours need to be invested into the fitness of the horse. Zoe coming up for her last halt. And she pats her horse, telling her mare that she did a brilliant job.
Every thought has the potential to influence. Every word has creative power. Every choice unlocks new possibilities. Every action has an impact. Choices are the chisels that sculpt our future. We hold the power and are responsible for making positive choices that bring about change. As Capricorn, we are dedicated to being connectors of positive change. We embrace choices as an opportunity to grow. We remain committed to creating value for the people of the countries we operate in. This is visible in our past and present actions, and even more so in the value these actions create in the future. By making sustainable choices, we have a positive impact. We create a legacy of hope, and we ensure a tomorrow where everyone thrives. Join us in transforming change into prosperity. Let's make positive changes. Capricorn Group.
Our third rider in this category C is Anja van der Merwe on Irongo Wilderness Stud, Amazing Sound. A rider, especially very seasoned eventer. She'll be taking part in category B as well on a different horse. Anya just waiting for the bell to go. The judges, after each dressage, look at their scoring, add comments, and the bell has rung. Amazing Sound entering the arena. Down the center line and into the first halt. That entrance always makes the big impression. So first impressions count. Very, very important for both horse and rider to look active, to be supple, the horse to be willing and happy to go forward. And this is what we see with Amazing Sound. Seems to be slightly irritated, but willingly gives to Anya's commands. Change of rein with a walk over X. So these transitions should be smooth, not abrupt, which is what the judges are looking for. Now for the circle to the right. It's a lovely morning here in Windhoek. Nice and cool, but not cold. And the sun already bearing down on us. Halt and immobility. Whoops, that wasn't quite immobile. And not 4 seconds looks to me. But that is quite difficult to gauge as well. Now the change of rein with a long rein. Also looks at the gait of the horse. Back into the working trot. Working canter left on the left rein. Circle Well ridden, nice and round, also very important. Back into a working trot, and she'll now be going into her serpentines. The horse is nice and supple. It'll easily bend left and right. A little bit against the bit. And now again into the working canter. Very obedient here. To see whether the horse is balanced and keeps the canter well. Now into the working trot. And thereafter for the last movement, the trot down the center line and the halt and immobility. And that's a lovely halt. Whoops. Looks amazing. Sound is quite comfortable with the job he's done. Not fazed by the flags or the spectators or anything around him. Very, very chilled character.
Thank you, Anja van der Merwe and Ironga Wilderness, that amazing sound. And you'll reflect with Mike.
Moritz, a very feisty competitor. And perfectly suited to his rider, Maike Busch. Moritz knows this is actually also a jumping arena, and he's wondering whether jumps are for him to take, and now he's got to do a really good dressage. And he's coming down the center line. Against the bit a little skew in the head. Halter's not too bad. Moritz is a little bit tense. But Mike is handling him quite well. The 12-meter circle. Oops, up against the bit there. She's got to just watch out he doesn't speed too much and race through his exercises. That was a little bit of an abrupt transition. The second transition is better, more smooth. This horse definitely doesn't lack impulsion. But he does get quite tense. That's just in his character. And the 12-meter circle on the other lead. He's got to now watch out he doesn't crawl behind the bit. He definitely was immobile for 4 seconds, so that was quite well done. He's now got to walk on a long rein. This is where they look at the regularity of pace. Now for the working trot again, and then into the working canter at sea. Oof. Getting a little excited there. But she does hold him together. Moritz is quite confident. But he's a little too tense. The rider doing very well at keeping him together, making sure he doesn't get overexcited. And he's now on the canter on the right. Moritz definitely has the desire to move forward. He does engage his hindquarters, which is not so easy for him because he is a very excitable horse and would love to just move out in front. And he will be happy to have completed this test. No major mistakes, however, now very much against the bit on that last little movement. Moritz quite clearly says, okay, now I've done enough really. Bush and Moritz.
Thank you, Bush and Moritz. Next to go in this FEI World Eventing Challenge Dressage phase for category C will be Tanya Bauer and Zeis Alvaro.
Our next competitor will be Tanya Bauer on Zeis Avado. Tanya, a very seasoned rider, basically grew up at Gymkhana Club Windhoek. Her father was a show jumper. She normally does very, very well at dressage. She does show jumping as well and is now taking her outing into the eventing sphere. By the way, all the competitors so far, not all, Sternchen, Moritz, Amazing Sound, and also Avado are locally bred horses. Avado from one of the biggest studs in Namibia, Zeis stud, that has produced many a dressage and many a show jumping competitor, very successfully also going in South Africa. Avado, one of these horses that one would call a little bit of a lucky packet because you never quite know what his mood says on the day. He can be absolutely brilliant. At the same time, he can also decide that, well, Tanya, we're going to have a little bit of a fun session today, and I feel like looking at everything and spooking at everything. But today he seems to be pretty cool, calm, and collected. So let's hope that this will be a super dressage for this pair. Entering on the center line. Beautiful square halt from this pair. Shows you that the rider's aids were nice parallel. Avado with a lovely spring in his step. Nice forward movement. Nice bend. Happy to accede to the rider's aids. Shows a lovely rhythm. Now watch the transition. That was a very, very good transition from trot into walk and back into trot. The second one not quite as good as the first transition, but that is what the judges are looking for, very smooth transitions, where the horse instantly listens to the aid and accedes to the rider's aids. 12-meter circle, accurately ridden. Halt and immobility, done and dusted. Moving on to the change of rein on a long rein. And there too, a good rhythm. And maintaining the rhythm even though he's on the long rein. And back into the working trot with the canter coming up. Circle at the canter. Pretty good. Horse maintains its rhythm. Nice flexion to the inside. Whoops. Got a little bit, just slightly against the aids there. And the test calls for 4 loops, not the normal 3 that go along the circle lines. So that's a little bit more daunting for the rider to do correctly. The canter and canter circle coming up. (15-meter circle). So in this test also we have a 12-meter circle and a 15-meter circle, which is a test for the rider to see whether they can be accurate. The 15-meter circle is a 3/4 line circle, and the 12-meter just beyond the center line, so not quite as easy to ride. onto the center line at the same nice rhythm and pace. Very active, engaging his hindquarters. And with that square halt, Tanya Bauer has completed her dressage pretty successfully.
Thank you to Tanya Bauer and Zeis Alvaro. Alvaro didn't do anything about the FNB stand today. What happened? Our last competitor in this category C of the FEI Eventing World Challenge, Helge von Ditfurt and Claratal Venezia. My apologies, it's not the very last competitor. We have another one. The boys coming out to rock today, last after Helge on Juneside Kadesh.
Helge von Ditfurt and Claratal Venezia. Helge also still a child rider, just like Zoe Schmidt. Claratal Venezia is a very seasoned eventer from the Claratal stud, just 40 kilometers outside Windhoek. She was ridden by Ruth Molzio very successfully in both dressage, show jumping, and also in eventing. And now Helge has the chance to take his next step from his first pony. Venezia quite happy to move forward, So good there on impulsion. Willingly acceding to the aids. And so far, so good for Helge van Ditvoort. Into the walk. The transition comfortable. A little bit against the bit, but nothing to be too worried about. And the second transition, quite a good one. Very attentive horse. Coming to that halt. And the 4-second immobility. Not quite square, that halt. And now the long rein. Venezia maintaining the rhythm. And stretching out. Started jogging a little bit there. And a little bit off the bit. But Helge is concentrating nicely and's got her back together very quickly. Into the canter. Oops. There you could see very nicely how difficult it is to ride a perfectly round circle. The rider's hand a little bit active there, and it's maybe a little too much in the hand. And that was why Venezia was bobbing her head a little bit. But now the loop is finished. And Helge into his next canter. These type of dressage tests are also taxing on the rider because you have to keep your concentration. You have to try and keep quiet hands, but still be concise and explicit in your aids. And the last halt, done and dusted for Helge van Ditvoort and Claratal, Venezia. Louis Kotze and Juneside Kadesh. Not quite as experienced in eventing as some of the other riders are. Kadesh also locally, and that is very nice to see. Louis Kotze, a junior rider. We mainly see him in the show jumping arena, but it's now his turn to enter the dressage for C FEI Eventing Challenge. Kadesh very much above the bit. Racing a little bit through this test. Easily into the walk and easily back into the trot. Horse not really over the back though. Louis, one of our junior riders. Jogged on instead of walking. And again, a little bit of jogging. There she was nearly into the canter, which she is only supposed to be doing at C. Louis trying very hard to keep his horse at a quiet pace. And this is the pace she most likes, a good canter. Back into the trot. Kadesh not quite comfortable with the noises overhead and around. But now she's back with Louis and listening to his aids. Canter on the right. Last circle coming up. Back into the trot, and now it's just the center line remaining, and the two have successfully completed the test. This concludes the first phase of Category C, the dressage phase of the FEI World Eventing Challenge. Hereafter, the Category C horses will be moving to the Derby. That will start once the Category B dressage riders have completed their test on the center arena.
Every thought has the potential to influence. Every word has creative power. Every choice unlocks new possibilities. Every action has an impact. Choices are the chisels that sculpt our future. We hold the power and are responsible for making positive choices that bring about change. As Capricorn, we are dedicated to being connectors of positive change. We embrace choices as an opportunity to grow. We remain committed to creating value for the people of the countries we operate in. This is visible in our past and present actions, and even more so in the value these actions create in the future. By making sustainable choices, we have a positive impact. We create a legacy of hope, and we ensure a tomorrow where everyone thrives. Join us in transforming change into prosperity. Let's make positive changes. Capricorn Group.
Shani Friede riding Callao Lucien. This is the first pair in the FEI Eventing World Challenge Dressage phase, category B. Shani Friede, a very dedicated and hard-working young adult. Lucien, a very, very seasoned eventer and show jumper. Lucien not impressed. That halt not being the square one you would ask for. But now he's with Shani and going through his paces. Circle to the left, 15 meters at E being requested. Thereafter working trot. Horse wishing to please, happily going forward. And they will now change rein in working trot and a rising trot, and with lengthening of a few steps. And back into working trot. And now we have the circle to the right. That you will see in most of the dressage tests, that your movements to the left will also be shown to the right. And at A, there'll be a transition to a medium walk. Watch the transition. Nice and comfortable and easy into the walk. Now the medium walk with a lengthening of the frame. The horse stretching out. Reaching out more. Now into the working trot. And at C, they'll be asked to go into the working canter. And they now have to show a good rhythm, nice regularity, remaining on the aids. The judges also look at the rider. And how the horse listens to the aids, one would say. Into a working trot. Lucien being quite obedient. So that was a change through an S inside the 20-meter circle. And just now at C, they'll be into the working canter on the right. Lucian maintaining his rhythm. The figures are being ridden quite accurately. Back into the working trot and down the center line. Again, what is needed here are the paces of the horse, good impulsion, the suppleness, and also submitting to the horse's, the rider's aids. Shani obviously quite pleased with what she's succeeded to do, and Lucian seems quite comfortable with what he's done as well. Anya van der Merwe, you saw her earlier on EWS Amazing Sound, now in category B. She's riding the stallion Lexington NH. She's been very successful with this horse in eventing in the past season, and will be hoping to emulate this time round. Nice to see a big smile on the rider's face. Means they're looking forward to this dressage test. And this pair can look quite stunning doing a dressage. They're just waiting for the bell to ring, signaling that the dressage judges are ready to adjudicate this test. A last circle to get the horse into frame. And they are ready to enter. Like I've said earlier, first impressions count. And that ride down the center line and the salute to the judges is what they will take along for the rest of the test. Today, Lexington stands square, but he's got his head up, being very attentive and saying, "Oops, where am I today?" On the lovely arenas of Gymkhana Club Windhoek. Anya known to ride her dressage tests very accurately. Lexington looking eager to please. It's a good impulsion. And there he's supposed to lengthen the stride a little, which he does. You can see the hind hoof stepping over the mark of the front hoof. Means they use their hindquarters more to step into the frame. Looking quite accurate so far. Transition to the medium walk coming up. Very nice and smooth. Lengthening the frame in the medium walk. Back on track, bringing the horse together again and into the working trot. Canter coming up, watch the transition. Horse very obedient, listening to the frame. Listening to the frame, I said. I think I meant aids. Nice flexion to the inside. Nice and regular in the paces. Now for that half circle with the S change. This is to test the horse's suppleness, the bend, and also the willingness to listen to the aids. And at C, we will then have the working canter to the right. .20-meter circle to the right. Lexington maintains regularity. Will now go into the trot and then down the center line again. That was a better halt than the one when entering. A big smile. And Anya can be pleased with her steed and her own performance. Last competitor in this category B dressage phase of the FEI Eventing World Challenge. Svenja Koziol on Apollo. Svenja very, very successful in eventing last year. Whoops, Apollo is very eager to go, so that was not much of a halt. And she's now managing to calm him down a little bit, ease a little bit of the tension. As she goes towards changing the rein and lengthening the stride a bit. This is not much lengthening, but more of a hurry. It's also something the judges look at. And now he's back and happy to move forward. Quite uphill. Now watch the transition into the medium walk. It's okay. And now a lengthening of stride requested. Almost into a little bit of a jog. But she's just stopped short of that. And the trot, canter on the left coming up. Svenja keeping him together nicely in the canter. Back into the trot. A little bit of head shaking there. But now back into the frame. The S change coming up. Back onto the outside track. And now for the work canter on the right. There's a little bit of an abrupt transition. Nice and regular circle though. Working trot and nearly done down the center line. Let's see what we do with a halt now. A little bit hurried. And now he's happy to halt quietly. That concludes the dressages for category B. We'll take a little bit of a break now to change the arenas, change the dressage arena to a jumping arena, and we'll be back with the category C derby in just a mo.
Every thought has the potential to influence. Every word has creative power. Every choice unlocks new possibilities. Every action has an impact. Choices are the chisels that sculpt our future. We hold the power and are responsible for making positive choices that bring about change. As Capricorn, we are dedicated to being connectors of positive change. We embrace choices as an opportunity to grow. We remain committed to creating value for the people of the countries we operate in. This is visible in our past and present actions, and even more so in the value these actions create in the future. By making sustainable choices, we have a positive impact. We create a legacy of hope, and we ensure a tomorrow where everyone thrives. Join us in transforming change into prosperity. Let's make positive changes. Capricorn.